The Blocktalk Podcast started because of my passion for the property management industry. I wanted to start a conversation and add some value within the industry with a diverse range of people and professionals who can add something extra. As we start out, my aim is that the podcast offers some useful insight into a variety of views, opinions, thoughts, and foresights from our guests, who include business leaders and industry experts. If you enjoy the podcast and want to find out any other information, head on over to brianwelsh.co.uk. Hello and welcome to another episode of the Blocktalk Podcast with me, Brian Welsh. Today's a bit different. Today we're speaking to one of the CPL Software team, Opeyemi Funsho, a developer with us in CPL. He's also a very keen AI enthusiast. Opey was the secretary of the AI and Robotics Society when he was at university, where he held multiple sessions that explored the operation and application of various AI models. During his placement year, he independently investigated how AI can be incorporated to improve system forecasting. So today, in this episode, Opey will provide a unique insight into the current state of the future of AI, including similarities to the internet. He will also discuss why all firms will need to prepare to utilize AI and how CPL is already preparing for its influence. Opey, thanks for coming on. How are you?
All good, mate. All good.
Good. Glad to hear it. So let's just crack straight into this. What is the current state of AI?
So it's a great question. There's quite a few ways to tackle it. I think personally, the best way to tackle it is just to look at the academic literature. So historically, general start point for artificial intelligence, AI, was the goal to, design machines that could think like humans. But the way we've approached this question within the academic literature is to use machine learning. So machine learning takes algorithms, statistical models, and tries to give these machines a large scale of data and tell them, okay, try and identify patterns. This is quite interesting because as a programmer, what we do is quite the opposite. We look at the data, we get the requirement via requirement elicitation, then we specifically write the rules. Whereas with machine learning, they try and figure out the rules for themselves using patterns. Then what we're seeing now with the advancement of machine learning is the next stage, which is deep learning. With deep learning, they start to use multi-layer neural networks, also known as deep neural networks, to process a large-scale data and identify these patterns. For example, we've got ChatGPT, which is an amazing deep learning model based on the GPT-3 architecture. And what we're starting to see now is these deep learning models are becoming very popular and lots of people are becoming really interested in AI.
Okay, good. So what do we think about regulation of AI and also the benefits of AI technology?
Oh, that's a really good question. I would say so different countries will try and tackle AI regulation a little bit differently. But I would say for the UK, we've got a long history of trying to be proactive with AI. There's a few dates that are quite important. So 2nd of September 2021, the UK government published a National Artificial Intelligence Strategy.
Right.
This set out a 10-year plan for the UK to try and become a global AI superpower. It's quite ambitious, but if you don't set your goals high, there's a high chance you'll fail. Then in March of 2023, the UK government published its AI regulation white paper. This made it clear that it's definitely going to be taking a proactive approach to AI regulations. While looking at the white paper, it's quite vague, which is what they're trying to do. So they're trying to set it up so that developers and companies can try and develop AI specific to their industry. So by the looks of it, the UK government is not going to create a central body for AI. What they're going to do is use the existing regulators to try and monitor AI. So I do think the UK government is trying to be proactive with AI, but the regulations might be specific to the industry. So we're going to be expecting a lot from regulators, because not only do you have to, let's say, the FCA, not only do you have to understand the financial regulations, but you have to understand how computers could impact that. So regulators will be having, a little bit of a challenge trying to keep up. But I would say with the UK itself, yeah, being proactive about AI, setting big goals, that's what we want to see. That's as a developer, that's what we want to see to keep it a little bit interesting. Coming
Okay.
up on the 30th of April, we are expecting these regulators to publish their annual strategic approach to AI. So that's going to be quite interesting.
Okay. Okay. And benefits of AI technology to everyone?
Oh, so the way I like to see it is if we work backwards. So with AI technology, it's not just the AI that's important, it's what's the problem. Like, I think when we were at school, uh, as developers, we didn't just want to be AI developers. It was
Yeah.
not engineers. We wanted to be developers. We wanted to be coders. We wanted to be able to create projects, and we saw AI as a tool. It's like that quote that if you only have a hammer, all you're going to see is nails. We didn't want to be AI engineers. We just wanted to be developers. So for us, we were looking at the problems. So what can large scale data and pattern recognition solve? For example, the healthcare industry. What we're starting to see is these models are really good at detecting such cancers, especially with the diagrams, the scans. They're producing very similar pictures. So the healthcare industry will excel with the advancement in AI. Another thing which is a little bit uh, expected, to be honest, is the food industry will excel. Health will become really big. For example, right now we do have uh, well documented, food stuff about how many calories are in this. But the next step is, why don't we just personalize that to you? Uh, Giving you likes and dislikes, we can personalize and give you that information. I think AI will actually be like a personalize your experience to what you like. Not only would this affect social media, health, but I think our education as well. Right now, our education system tends to take a structured standard approach. Obviously, there's a benefits with that, but I don't think everyone likes to learn via that method. So personalized education will be quite beneficial to the young generation. And if we can, empower the young generation to feel as if they want to learn, it's like the whole world will be their oyster and they will create amazing products. So I'm quite excited to see what AI does. And finally, and not least, of course, in our industry, the property factor industry, AI will excel here. There's a few things that are considered normal, but it's because you've been in the industry for a long time, it's considered normal. Like, why does it take so long to buy a house or sell a house? These questions is just, that's how it's been done. With the advancement in technology, not only AI, but we could see companies start to arise to tackle these problems.
Okay. So, what's your opinion about the future of AI then?
Oh, so there's quite a few. The future of AI is quite unpredictable in terms
Yeah.
of, if people don't participate in it, only a handful of people will design that future. Uh,
Yeah.
and what we've seen, I'll give you an example. So when we were part of the AI Society, what we wanted to do is learn about it, but try and bring as many people along, because as developers, we're quite biased. We want to build products that we enjoy, but there are
Yeah.
some things that we might not think about, uh, like large scale knock on effects. So we wanted to bring people from different backgrounds, STEM backgrounds, non-STEM backgrounds, to get involved, give us your opinion about it. So personally, I think the long-term trend of AI will remain positive if we encourage people to express their opinion about it. Uh, for example, actually, the 2023 Writers Guild of America movement established a new contract with Hollywood and TV
Yeah.
studios, ensured that AI remains a tool rather than a replacement for human creativity. I think that was
Yeah.
quite impressive to see people come together and say,
Yeah.
yes, this is a fantastic tool, but how do we want to use it? And how do we want it to shape our future? So getting more people not only excited about AI, but wanting to participate in AI will be fantastic.
Yeah, no, I get you. I get you. Yeah, we need to be careful with that. Absolutely. Okay, so how can organizations prepare for AI then?
Oh, this is actually a really good question. So during my placement, what I did was I created a data pipeline with my great manager. Uh, we wanted to focus on data integrity, data preparation, and make sure we had quality data. The minute we accomplished that, it gave us the opportunity to start exploring AI products. But what I'm starting to see is that companies that might be trying to skip a few steps. I would say if you want to prepare for AI, you need to make sure you have a data pipeline ready for AI.
Yeah,
Data integrity, data categorization. These are like the fundamental steps that companies should not avoid and should actually focus on it because it just saves you time in the future. Uh, so to ensure that obviously companies are preparing for AI, you do have to do a little bit of AI education. I think luckily for us, especially in CPL Core, we are able to do PDPs. So
yeah,
PDPs give us the opportunity to go and explore AI topics if we're interested in it. So
yeah,
this company has been actually really proactive with AI, especially during our conference. That was really good, where we got to explore AI
yeah,
concepts and see how we can start or continue actually to integrate AI where suitable. So I would say focus on the fundamentals, focus on creating a pipeline of high quality data. Then if you can start to, train the employees. I, when it comes to training, it shouldn't be a top down approach. What I've started to see is that with most companies, like their staff are starting to use AI, whether it's ChatGPT to some degrees.
yeah,
So just watch how people within the company are using AI and see, okay, can we start to prepare what regulations or rules or policies can we incorporate to make sure they do use it correctly?
yeah,
And I would say finally, if you're really passionate about it, especially corporations, is to look at how AI can be incorporated within the industry. You can't just use a boilerplate AI. It has to be specific to your industry. So
yeah.
I would say we've got quite a few steps that organizations can use to prepare for AI.
Okay. And we did, you mentioned the workshop and conference that we did. How did that identify how we were preparing for AI?
I would say we're quite proactive with AI. Not only AI, because what we have is we've got a team of people with skills from different areas to create great products. For example, we've got Taylor. He loves looking at obviously cybersecurity. So
Yeah,
when I get stuck with cybersecurity, I could literally just go, "Hey mate, how can I make sure this is a little bit more secure? What are you working on? Okay, how can we make sure we're unhackable?" Like that's a great aspect. We obviously have Will, who understands the system as a whole, understands the future of the property factory industry. Obviously, we've got you, Brian, and finally, James. James is absolutely amazing. I think what we tend to miss out is as a young developer, we just want to build, right? We just want to spend
yeah,
time coding. We don't really want to look at the large scale thing. But James, again, slow down. Has someone tried this approach before? What mistakes have they made? How can we
yeah,
avoid repeating that mistake? So
yeah,
I would say we've got a team that is being really proactive, not only with AI, but with the industry of becoming developers as a whole. So yes, we are being proactive with AI, but we're not just trying to build an AI product. We're trying to build the best product for the industry. So we're going to incorporate various aspects into it.
okay. And we talked about estimating forecasting
Fantastic,
as
yes.
well at some point. Um, how can we improve that with AI?
So with AI, I would like to say to make it easier for most people to understand, it's literally just taking a large scale data and giving it to mathematical models to identify patterns. So right now, you don't have to use AI to do forecasting, yearly, monthly forecasting. But the advantage of AI is that when it comes to large scale data, so it starts to include things that you probably weren't aware of. During my placement, I did look at multilinear regression models, which is a machine learning technique. Uh, which takes various variables that you might not consider could affect future forecasting and accounts for that. So it provides an extra depth into forecasting. And what I see with CPL is that we've got a great data pipeline. Obviously, everything can be improved as we continue to work on that. It gives us a massive opportunity to improve forecasting and also to continue incorporating AI.
Okay, good. Okay, so how can we, CPL or anybody, be proactive to avoid the negative aspects of AI? Because there's a lot of fear around AI, right? So how can we be proactive to avoid that?
So I would say the UK government is trying to provide regulations which will actually avoid most of AI problems. Obviously, AI has always been regulated. It doesn't have to only rely on AI regulations. We always had GDPR. We've had existing industry regulations. So regarding the negative aspects, if we just stick with the UK laws, that covers the majority of the negative aspects. But we can also do other things like giving people the opportunity to for us use our PDP to investigate it. And what we tend to do is after doing our PDP. We tend to give feedback. We tend to say, "Hey, this was a good course, or this was a bad course." So
Yeah,
it tends to be like a bottom up approach. When people find something that has been helpful in avoiding the negative aspects, they'll come and inform us. But also, like again, with you, Brian, you did provide us with like AI guidelines already. So
yeah,
I think, yeah, you guys made it clear that this is how we would like to use it, or what we should avoid using as well. So
yeah.
yeah, we do have quite a few things already in place to avoid the negative aspects.
Okay. So just feeding on from that then, or following on from that, what are the potential risks and dangers of AI technology?
Oh, so I would say there's two big risks. Uh, the first one comes with actually the data itself. So when you feed these models large scale data, you might not be aware of it, but there could be correlations within the existing data that you don't want the model to pick up. For
Yeah,
example, uh, if you it's a silly one, but it gets the point across. If you have, let's say, a list of names, right, and let's say the average length of the name is 4, right? Unfortunately, the model might think, okay, the person who has more than 4 letters within the name should not achieve this qualification or achieve this task. It's simple things like that, but we don't naturally think of. But again, because we're not identifying the rules for these AI models to pick up, they will create their own rules, and it's not as easy to identify those rules. So I would say the first one is with unintended consequences with large scale data. Uh,
okay.
then the second one comes not from the data aspect, but from the AI models. It's just they are becoming so complicated that it's becoming harder to understand how they're identifying their own patterns. And if we don't understand, their patterns within those models, they will produce unintended consequences.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
we've got two big problems that uh, obviously what we can do is number one, data preparation, make sure the data is not biased. Then number two, with the machine learning models, is that you have to do a lot of testing, just large scale testing, various test case to see what patterns is it trying to use.
Okay. Yeah, no, I get that. And it wasn't really it wasn't okay. It was a good example to explain it in a simple terms. Okay, so just coming to the end then, I guess it would be good to understand what you think are the limitations of current AI technology.
Well, there's quite a few. Uh, I would say it's the data dependency. So because AI models are trying to identify patterns, uh, they need high quality data. But right now we just don't have that.
Yeah.
For obviously, for us to get that high quality data, not only do we need the existence of the data, but we need the categorization of the data, because the models need to understand what categories each of these uh, data sets should fit in. So there's a massive, I would say, a massive rush to get high quality data, but that's just going to take time. Uh, so the biggest limitations for AI right now, it's not the models itself,
Yeah.
but the quality data, which is just not as available as we need it to be.
Yeah. No, I get that. I get that. Opie, that's been really, really, really helpful, really useful. Is there anything else you want to add to the kind of discussion we've already had, or?
I would say with the next generation, because I saw a little article about, kids at school using AIs to complete homeworks and stuff like that. I would say that's absolutely fantastic, right? So we want these young generation not only to grow up with AI, but to use it to empower them. So schools need to be proactive to provide AI guidelines. Obviously, we're not trying to make AI replace us because that would be horrific.
Yeah.
But we do want to use it to create new products and create a better world and tackle new problems. So I was quite amazed that these kids are already on it. So I would just encourage them to, continue to use this technology to empower themselves.
Good. Excellent. Thanks so much for coming on, Opie.
That's fine. See you later, Brian.
Thanks.